Hello folks and welcome back to the Besides the Norm podcast. We decided again to stop the live sort of weekly shows every Thursday, but what has ended up happening is we end up booking a guest for basically the same time as the live show would go out. So it's just one of those magical things that happens in show business. We'll call it show business, that's what we'll call it.
Show business, yeah. We are very famous. We are basically Conan.
Basically. So following on, we had the US presidential election special last Saturday.
It would have been good if you could stop that there.
What?
If you just said we had the US president.
What, Donald Trump in here?
Donald Trump in here.
Glorious. I can't do his accent. I cannot do it.
Once the Secret Service have dragged him out, he's apparently coming back to Scotland.
I am so looking forward to that happening. It's going to be amazing. So, not to keep our guest waiting any longer, we have a guest on the line.
I'm still trying to share this.
It's alright, I will share once we start talking. I'll let you get into a conversation.
But I need to share
I'll
it.
get sharing. Aye, but if you get sharing it, I'll speak to Luke right now.
Right.
We have Luke on the line right now. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm also looking forward to when they drag him out of the White House.
It's going to be amazing.
So
if you just see 4 burly security guards, one hand each, one leg each, just dragging the guy out, kicking and screaming.
It's going to be glorious.
Orange tan over the floor and shit.
Just a general streak of orange.
It will be pretty amazing. I am really looking forward to that. So look, how much are you actually allowed to say about the president? Are you allowed to be really horrible about him, or do you have to rein it in?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? My computer broke out a little bit.
It's okay. So, how awful are you allowed to be about Donald Trump? Do you have to rein it in slightly because you were running for Senate, or because you're finished now, are you allowed to be extra awful about him?
Oh, it's been amazing. We've had to be quiet because unfortunately he has been president for 4 years. I've taken my swings, but now the gloves are off, and I'm enjoying it. Here in Indiana, we've got a lot of people that really liked him for some god awful reasons, and now it's nice to be able to get a little bit of redemption. I didn't understand. I didn't know how much animosity I had built up towards those folks.
Yeah,
it's always fun speaking to politicians before.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
And then after the election.
Aye.
Because in 2016 we had the Scottish Parliament elections, and our first ever political guest was someone who, when he first came on, he was semi-aggressive, but it was just sort of he was still nice. But then we had him on after he lost. And
Weirdly,
as he just popped up.
He's literally just commented. The guy.
Yeah, instantly as soon as he lost, he became very, very aggressive, and that was gloves off, happy as Larry, swear and...
Oh, it was beautiful. So are you in that level now, Luke?
What was that?
So are you on that level now, Luke? You're able to swear about it and be aggressive?
It's amazing. My girlfriend Danielle, he has been far more aggressive and far more upset than I ever was. It's funny. So she does travel nursing, and a lot of the districts that I was trying to win is where she takes care of people. Mm-hmm. And it's about 3 or 4 times a day I get a message from her, and she'll be like, "I'm going to take care of someone who voted against you." Or, she'll be at a visit, in a home visit, and she'll be like, these SOBs are definitely voting for the other guy. I'm like, babe, it's been over a week. We can let it go now.
Well, just
you're too nice.
Too nice.
You're way too nice.
Just to say there, Bill Mayer commented, "Welcome to Scotland." He's not moved to Scotland, Bill. He's still on. He's just on the phone. Luke Bohm, well done, BTN, for getting a US Senate candidate. It's awesome. And Bill just said there, that's me.
We are going to be speaking a bit about how the system works in the US, because it's different
compared to over here, sort of thing.
Compared to here. We've got a parliamentary system, and they don't. I don't know what it's called. They have another system.
Okay, right. Well, see
so
how that
goes. We're going to speak a little bit about that later on.
Well, what I'll do is I'll let you get started, and
right.
I'll get to sharing properly
the
podcast, and I'll come back Very soon. I'll leave you to it. If I hear any audio issues, I'll let you know.
Okay, cool. So, you stood for State Senate, but before we go into that, do you want to talk a little bit about sort of your early life and like what sort of got you interested in politics that made you run in the first place? We're having technical issues. Did he hear what I said there?
I don't think so.
Right, cool. Is it your side that's broke or his?
The Zoom seems to have broken, yes.
Right, cool.
Jesus.
Dope. There's always a downside with these online things.
Genuinely
Going to unmute your mic before you speak.
pisses me off
Aye.
to the end of the earth.
There's great parts of online discussions in that you can speak to so many more people. But the downside is sometimes this happens. So is Zoom down? What's...
Just continuously says preparing meeting.
Brilliant.
Fucking hell. Okay, so this is a special live podcast that we're never doing again.
Right, we could just cancel speaker then. That's 14 quid saved.
Aye. Oh my god, I hate this. It's genuinely just not working. I'm going to have to reset my phone.
Oh, brilliant. You can how long that takes.
Yes.
So we could be here for a while.
I didn't want to, but I'm going to have to. That's what I done the last time. This is stupid. I'm just going to sign off this because this is absolutely pointless. It's pointless us talking. But what do you want to stay on and just kill air for 5-10 minutes? What do you want to do? I've logged out, Bill. Pain in the hole. I'll just keep it live now. Might as well just keep it live now till he comes back in. Fuck me.
What a day. What have you been up to?
What have you been up to, Bill?
What a laugh.
Aye, I tried to do that there, but it's just no word. I'd done this once before, where the whole thing just jammed. It's just said connecting forever and then preparing meetings, so you go to log out.
Is it the phone that's shit or Zoom that's shit?
I don't know. Well, he said he has the same issue sometimes.
So it's Zoom that's shit then?
Basically, aye. He's enjoying the peace of lockdown, he says. It's great though. Like everybody, like I do feel sorry for the homeless and stuff like that, and people that are losing their jobs.
The homeless got hussies for a while.
But there's going to be people that are homeless now.
Oh,
Newly homeless. Even the people that were homeless before, still,
They're
all
still
just as
homeless.
bad, right? But this is easy for me.
Aye, for sure. Aye.
Like, there's a lot of people complaining that, I can't cuddle my auntie. It's like, fuck, I never cuddle my auntie anyway. My auntie doesn't want me.
I don't even like my auntie.
My auntie doesn't want
I
me
don't
going
like
to the
any of
cuddle.
my aunties.
I see. This is one of the issues with Zoom, Bill, is that I use it on my phone, and the laptop is used for actually streaming the show.
Could you read comments before you respond to them, so that I can what you're responding to?
Aye, sorry. He said, "Can you log on via your PC/laptop?"
Aye, I mean you could do that.
I could, but I'm using it as a
you're
SIM
using
card.
Bluetooth.
Aye, and that's a good thing. Like, if I use that through there,
Should I email them and let them kin with?
aye. My God. Somebody just messaged me, how do I listen? You put a big thing saying...
Literally put a big thing. Punch them.
There's a big... Aye. There's a big thing on the...
I need to find his thing.
Start recording. Fucking hell. There's a big clickable clink right there. Online event speaker, then the link's there. Nah, I'm not even going to help anybody that's having issues.
Who's it?
It's Becky.
Becky who?
My pal.
Becky the idiot. She's got to stab me.
Jesus Christ. Right, no. Right, we're loaded back up.
Right, I've sent her a message.
Right.
So.
Because the phone being an absolute shed at times doesn't help.
Oh, well, it's free.
Because somebody broke it last time, so.
Didn't break that one.
The last one. Right. We're back on Zoom.
Right, we're back on. Will I message him again?
Look who's joined it, but he's there.
Is he there? Okay. I said call him back, like that means anything. It doesn't mean anything.
That's alright. He's just joining right now.
Good start. All professional. Perfectly professional.
Do you remember where we finished off?
No, I don't. I think I was asking him about his early life.
Right. If you just move on to... Hello, Luke.
Alright, is that better?
It's better, yeah. I think we had an issue with my Zoom account on the phone.
No worries, we're back now.
Excellent. The problem is we're live. We're doing a live stream as well. So that's really annoying.
Oh,
but
geez.
it's okay, we're still live. we will edit the podcast afterwards, obviously. Because
I don't think you should. I think you just leave it.
Just keep in the dead air.
Just leave the dead air. It's a live broadcast. You can't expect
That's
perfect.
It. Well, the people that are listening right now have had a special podcast so far with us, just complaining.
Just having a chat with Bill.
Yeah, basically being a bit...
Should we talk a bit about politics now?
We should do, yeah.
Let's talk.
It is suspicious that we started bashing Donald Trump, and the next thing we know, our feed goes dead.
That's it.
Could it have been the Secret Service?
Well, first of all, the Democrats rigged all the votes, and now Donald Trump's rigged their podcast.
So, we could ask, look, we have the platform right now.
Yep.
How easy was it to rig the votes?
You know what? I'll tell you, it was weird because even though we rigged the votes, none of us won.
It's amazing that, isn't it?
We didn't take control of the legislature, and we lost states and we lost seats.
Mm-hmm.
So it was it was hard to rig it so only Biden won.
See, what I think is that the Democrats are just incompetent. I think that's what we've learned.
Mm-hmm.
That they're so incompetent that they've managed to get a presidency, but they've lost everything else.
Yeah.
It's like Labour, isn't it?
That does make sense. I'm going to be entirely honest. Being part of the Democratic Party, I can tell you that is something we would do.
Yeah, fully.
Oh, perfect. Well, good start.
So just before you definitely start right there,
okay.
We won't keep the dead air in, but we will keep. We'll just continue this conversation as it goes. So Bill just says, "Defo leaving the dead air." We could, I suppose. I am going to get rid of some of the dead air.
No, leave it. It's fine. Just leave it.
But we can continue on for here, and I'll get the link shared.
Okay.
After 15 minutes.
Am I going to need to share an air link? Oh no, it's the same. It's the same thing. Okay, link. Right. We'll start where I left off before. So, you have.
Ask if he's still there.
You have run for state senate, but before that, what was your life like? Was there something specific that made you interested in politics, or was it just a gradual thing?
So my entire career I've been in politics.
Okay.
I've been in professional politics for 8 years now. And I came back to Indiana. I was out on the East Coast near New York and Philadelphia for a number of years. And then came back and looked at the issues that we had here in my home state of Indiana and thought, I need to run. Looking back on it, I probably should have thought a little bit harder about it. But I guess here we are now.
So what was it you were doing in politics?
I was running campaigns.
Oh, right, okay.
I was doing the standard strategy, trying to get different people elected all across the country.
Right.
So,
how did it go? Were you successful?
It was running campaigns, not for myself.
Was it successful?
Yeah. I won around 85% of the races that I worked on. There are a few you just don't win. But.
Nice. That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, and as a matter of fact, I just opened a business a couple of days ago with a few colleagues of mine, and we're going to be getting back into trying to get some people elected.
I need to invite you over to Scotland because we keep losing. The left keeps losing in the UK.
Let us know. We'll come over.
Although
not tied to just American politics.
We can't afford it because I was looking at the expenditure that was put into your race. The money from your election wasn't there, but like 2016 and stuff, $200,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that is a ton of money for a race like this.
Yeah. How I'm assuming that wasn't per candidate. I think that was the whole thing, but still, that's a 20,000 vote area, and it's $200,000 is being spent. That's incredible. So, for perspective of that, I was in a local election here, and there was about 8 of us in the election, and I would be willing to bet there was maybe £50,000 spent altogether.
Oh.
So, politics in the US seems to be a big corporate thing, way bigger than it is in the UK. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Politics over here is, I'll be entirely honest, both Democrats and Republicans and all this, the corruption is so rampant in American politics. That's why we get hundreds of thousands of dollars for even these smaller races, because there's always something in it for everyone.
Yeah.
I think I always liken the American politics race to the UK one in the sense of, and you will not know this UK TV programme, but I always liken it to from Breaking Bad to The Bill. Breaking Bad is like a highly successful, sort of like Hollywood-made TV show.
Yeah.
The Bill, I don't know if you've seen The Bill, Craig, but some of the stunts in that programme are really badly put together.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this was so, let's get into this because this is the part that confuses me. You run for state senate and not the Senate, right? Is that right?
Correct.
Right. So, state senate is part of the Congress, which encompasses the Senate and the House of Representatives. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So, state senate would be local government.
Yes, that's just for Indiana.
All right. Okay. So it would be different things in different states then.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. It's because each state runs its own government effectively.
Right.
It's just the upper body of that legislature.
Right. Okay. So the way that I always try and understand it is trying to compare it to our system. So in my head, you're not going to be able to confirm this, but in my head, it seems that your state senate would be like our council, or maybe the Scottish Parliament. I really don't know, to be honest.
I think you likened it to like the council, like compared to what Bill's doing. But again, these states and like these areas are huge.
We are dealing with a much bigger population, so it's hard to compare.
If you think of the UK, like how small it is, that's obviously why there's less money. Like the state senate is like the Scottish government, basically. Is what Bill just said there. Bill also said, "Can Luke understand everything you say in your Kennewy accent?" Yes, it seems.
He said you've been to Scotland before. Did you say, Luke?
I have. I've been to Edinburgh a couple of times.
You've been to where?
Edinburgh.
Interesting. We always get Americans to say that a couple of times because it's always wrong. It's like how people say my name. My name's Craig. In Scotland, it's Craig, but in America, it's Craig. And that always throws me off.
How was it said?
It was what?
How did they say Edinburgh?
Edinburgh.
Like that.
Okay.
But it's always just a rubbish thing that we
One of
American.
One of my favourite things, especially, is when the musicians go to Glasgow and they shout to the crowd, "Let's go, Glasgow!"
Yeah,
that's a beautiful thing. It's great. I like that.
So
when you go, sorry, Craig, button in here.
We love to mix politics with nonsense.
Yes,
that's our favourite thing to do. So, my question, because this confused me, and hopefully you could clear it up, or you could point out there's an error or something. But I was on Ballotpedia, I think, and I was looking at the race that you were in, and it said that in the primaries for that election you got over 10,000 votes, but in the election you got 4,000 votes. So it seems that 6,000 people went away. Where they went?
So what happened is the website isn't updated.
Oh, okay.
Ballotpedia, they haven't updated fully.
Right. Damn, that's much easier to explain then. Because I was actually annoyed at your voters for not turning up. I thought there had been some sort of...
I ended up getting around 24,000 votes in the general election.
Oh, okay. So how many did he get?
About 40,000.
Oh. Because he said it says 12,000 for him. So when you said 20,000, I was like, oh, you won, nice. That's dope.
Yeah, I wish you only got 12,000 votes.
So it's a lot more votes than I thought it was then, because I just said it was a 20,000 vote election, but it wasn't. It sounds like it's a 60,000 vote election. So that's much bigger than I assumed. But it's still a lot of money. Still feel like it's a lot of money.
It's so much money for these small races.
It seems like it would scare normal, everyday people off.
I think that's the point of it. You know, what you won't find on there is, well, my opponent, he didn't spend too much money. He had $1.2 million US at his disposal.
Jeez. Damn. How do you compete with that? That's hard to compete with. I don't know what it's spent on, but just having the money there is intimidating, I feel.
It's amazing because I spent pretty much a little over a year running for the seat. I spent a bunch of time. The money wasn't there because of the COVID shutdowns,
right,
how bad that's been over here. And just thinking about it, like, what could you spend $1 million on? It's just amazing to me the amount of money that he had at his disposal. It's like, why? He's 83 years old, to mention as well.
He's how old? 83?
83.
Did he make all the meetings?
What was
that? Did he manage to make it to all the meetings?
No, he doesn't.
So I thought.
His wife has to push him in a wheelchair whenever he's down in the State House, when he's actually doing his job.
Damn, why does he want to still be there? I
know, that would wind me up, still being there at 83 years old, having to do that job.
Because
I have no idea why he wanted to do that. If I was 83, the last thing I would want to do is have to go down to a State House and do the same thing for the last 14 years, or the next 4 years I've done for the last 14.
Mm-hmm. And you have to imagine, like, how in touch is he really with the youth?
Oh, not at all.
Yeah. He's not going to local gigs.
Really with anybody?
No. Well, exactly, yeah. The middle-aged people.
If he's got access to 1.2 million.
God, aye.
I mean, I know that's not his personal money. I assume it's not his personal money. But still, having access, it means you've got people with money behind you. So you've no idea how the guy running the local shop lives his life. You're so out of touch with anything.
No, it's actually funny because I had a lot of shop owners and a lot of bar owners behind me because they had never seen him before, but they'll see me on a regular basis.
Yeah. You had the unions behind you as well, I saw.
Yeah, I had quite a few unions behind me.
That's always
They didn't vote for me because that's how American politics is, but...
Oh, they don't? Oh, no.
Well, that's a common thread we see a lot of the time as well, is people say, oh, we're behind this guy, but then behind closed doors, you don't know who or what they're doing.
What we see in the UK is we see union members, like everyday union members, voting for the closest left-wing party they've got. So in the US, that would probably be the Democrats. And then the union leaders vote for the other side. Or pretend that they're going to vote for the left one and then hide who they actually vote for. That's what we tend to see in the UK. So is that a similar thing that happens in the US?
I wish they hid who they voted for. They put it on flags in their pickup trucks.
Oh, did they? Oh, no. Can you imagine the union leaders here being proud of voting Tory?
Again, that's not such a big thing in the UK, like people sort of branding.
That's true.
Apart from, at least from the like Scottish independence thing,
yep.
There was a few banners in the back of cars and stuff, but that seems to be a much bigger thing in America than over here.
Yeah, you never see a Corbyn sticker on a car.
That's a huge difference between US and UK politics.
That is.
It's more hidden, I would say, in the UK.
As well as...
Apart from when you go on Facebook, it's not hidden there, but...
I've also seen in like presidential races where they've, like a relatively rich family will have the candidate at their house, just in like a house meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That's, to me, that blows my mind.
Crazy.
But
it is amazing the excitement people get for politicians that do not care about them.
Oh yes, for sure. Damn.
There are signs, yard signs, around my area here that say God, guns, and Trump.
God.
You would never see that here. Well, first of all, guns are illegal here, and no one seems to want that to change.
No.
It seems, and even people that are proud of their vote would never display a banner saying that. Oh man, the culture of politics in the UK and the US is so different. It's so different. And here's another odd thing is that. So I don't know. Do you know much about the UK politics? I doubt. There's no reason for you to, but just out of curiosity.
Not a ton, I'll be honest.
Right. So this isn't an attack on you, but
it's just an attack on politics as a whole.
Yeah, but what I've noticed is that the UK seems to be significantly to the left of the US, and so our sort of quote unquote right leaning party is more aligned with your left leaning party, and to me that's another thing that shocks me. We got to a point where Bernie Sanders even said that Jeremy Corbyn, who was the Labour leader, was too left-wing for him, even though he supported him. And that seems to be another huge thing. Just how much further to the right the US is to pretty much most other countries.
Mm.
It's honestly scary. Having spent time in Germany, the conservatives in Europe, I've said for a long time, are even further left or even more liberal than the Democrats in America.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got the right-leaning party. We've got some areas where there are politicians that want women to not be able to drive cars or vote anymore.
Really?
Yeah, proper medieval shit sometimes.
Yeah. Damn. I didn't think
it really is.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And these are the things you hear from the UK. This is the stuff that gets blasted over to the UK. Like, this certain guy believes in this, but this is not everybody. You have to remember that.
I think it's everybody.
But there are some out there.
The thing that I'll never understand is you go to places in the United States and there are people living in just wooded shacks back in the woods. They've got no job. They're addicted to some sort of drugs or whatever. And then they've got these giant, hideous homemade signs for Donald Trump or even whoever the Republican at the time. And they will stand by whoever that person is to the death. I mean, they will show up with guns on their porches, and they will threaten people who don't believe the same way they do. Mm-hmm. And then they'll go back to their shacks in the woods and not even begin to understand that the people that they're supporting do not care about them, won't give a toss about one thing or another that happens.
I mean, we know a few people that are similar to them. Not the guns.
No.
We've got nothing to do with
guns. You can't
guns.
do that here.
Yeah, but we know a few people, and although it tends to be based on immigration, even the few that we could reference from your town, it's always they might be unemployed, they might be generally left-leaning when it comes to economics, but as soon as it becomes immigration, they're far right. They instantly vote for the right-wing party, and nothing is going to change their mind. And that seems to be what you're sort of describing there.
That's something that I've never understood why somebody who works minimum job is worried about the Indian nuclear physicist taking their job.
Yeah, I've never understood that either.
There was a facility. I was living on the East Coast at the time. There was a factory coming in that they made GPS devices for like drones and high level military equipment. And there was a group around the area that said that they didn't want the foreign company coming in and taking their jobs. And these are people that they lived in those shacks that I talked about. And all I could think of was, yes, because you have the qualifications to go make mobile devices that can pinpoint down to the inch on the other side of the world.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like they use much thoughts to make their opinions known. They just sort of open their mouth and let their belly rumble. I don't know if that's a worldwide phrase, but
it should be.
Should be. So I'm getting the distinct feeling that there's two groups in the Democratic Party. There's the moderates and the progressives, and it seems that you'd count yourself as a progressive.
So I would consider my policy stances to be more progressive.
Right.
But the problem that the progressives have in the United States is they're very radical. They're very aggressive, and there's a lot of places in the country where they're not going to, the policy and their stances are fine. Most people will agree with that and vote for them, but they're just there's so much vitriol around them that people will never vote for them, and we lose elections. And that's what drives me nuts. It's because, yeah, the policy and the ideas might be good, but when you go out there and you scream at people that if they don't vote the way they want, they're below them or they're a different kind of citizen. That's what gets me.
So it's more about the way they portray the message as opposed to the actual message.
Exactly. It's the way that they present themselves.
Because there was a point made that Florida obviously voted against Biden and went for Trump, but also voted in a $15 minimum wage, which was a Biden policy, which a lot in the progressive movement TYT to be specific, pointed out as an argument that progressives should be the ones in most of the candidate selections as opposed to moderates like Joe Biden.
Yes. And the other thing that is lost on me as well is Kamala Harris, going to be vice president. She is very progressive. But because she isn't radical, the progressive wings are against her, even though policy-wise she is aligned with them.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that a lot of the arguments I've seen against Kamala Harris has come from the defund the police people, because Kamala Harris said that she was a top cop, and they feel that she's sort of exacerbated some of the issues that have been put against black people in the US, and that seems to be their main opposition to her.
The thing with her, and the thing about the whole defund the police, I think is stupid, because when you talk about the defunding the police problem, they don't address the systemic racism and brutality in American police force. They just use it as something fun to post on social media. You know, my concern is more or less about actually doing something, taking care of a problem, instead of just seeing who can become more popular on social media because they said something.
Cool.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot more of a buzzword than actually people just like actually trying their best to do that.
Well, I think the thing that I've noticed is that it means a few different things to a few different groups.
And a lot of people mistake it for different things as well. There's a huge mix-up.
That seems to be the main issue for me, is that there's not a cohesive...
There's a lot of people out there, believe it or not, that when you say defund the police, they think, oh, take their guns away, like strip them off their uniform, like take everything away from them, they don't have power. And we've had that argument before with people, and it doesn't mean that.
It does for me.
Okay. Well, for example, here in the town I live in, Valparaiso, we have got about 65% of our taxes go to either the budget for the police or the county sheriff.
Damn, 65%.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That is a huge amount of money. When we have issues like we don't have a healthcare system, our roads and our bridges are falling apart. Our public schools are some of the worst in the nation. But we make sure that the police have the top guns and the top technology. I understand where people are saying defund, but the general public won't buy that. They won't. They think that saying defund the police means anarchy in the streets and criminals everywhere. What we need to say is reallocate the funds. We need to realign where the money goes.
Yeah. So that's what happened in, I think it was, I don't know if it was California or whether it was specifically LA, but they reallocated some funds from the police to social work and mental health work, I'm sure. So would that be more where you would argue?
That's what I would argue. I would argue that we need to spend some of that money on better things. Here in the United States, we've got so much money in the military that these police departments, they can get some of that money. They can get some of that funding from the federal government instead of taking it right from the communities and right from that tax base that we need it for hospitals, we need it for roads, we need it for schools. So to me, the other element of this too is American politics has become a mass consumer product, and that's just not how it's supposed to be. Politics is not supposed to be for everybody involved. It's supposed to be for the qualified and the ones who know what they're talking
I want to ask you, you probably had this in mind as well, about how much do you know about the NHS in the UK, and would you like to see that implemented in some way in the US?
I actually know a good amount about the NHS.
Awesome.
That's one of the programs that we've looked at. And yeah, I believe that we need some sort of state program or state-run healthcare. We cannot continue to have healthcare that's decided by someone's employment or their financial status.
That actually was my question.
Is it?
Yeah.
If I'm being entirely honest, I don't understand how a country where you can buy a gun in 10 minutes and get a cheeseburger for $1 doesn't have some form of healthcare system.
Yeah, I've read that it would actually be cheaper for the US to have a socialized medicine system in some way, because you seem to spend a lot. So the general theory is, I don't know if it's been totally verified, but the general theory is that because people can't afford co-pays and to go and see their GP or whatever, they don't get checked up enough, so they end up just going to the emergency room once they're too ill to do anything else, and then it becomes a lot more expensive to treat them. And then that goes on to how much the state pays, and then it becomes significantly more expensive than if they just had a state system to begin with.
No, that's absolutely right.
Right. I've done some research. Yeah, it's never made sense to me. It seems like a common sense thing to, at the very least, look after the people that you're governing.
To hear Republicans fighting against this confuses me to no end.
I mean, some Democrats do as well.
Well, didn't know that.
It's a very scary subject in some areas to discuss this for some reason. I don't know why. To me, it seems pretty straightforward. No, ask someone in the UK if they hate the NHS. You'll find almost none.
Mm-hmm.
Common sense.
It is. I mean, to give you just a small example, here in the state of Indiana, it is safer, or it is more dangerous for a woman to give birth in Indiana than it is for a woman to give birth in Pakistan.
Damn. That's crazy.
And the amount of people that will then say that it's, we shouldn't, the government shouldn't take care of us. The government shouldn't give us free health care. It's mind-boggling to me, because let's be honest, we're all here because someone gave birth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone turns right around and says that we shouldn't protect new mothers, or we shouldn't make sure that our children have got the best health care that they can. It makes no sense if you honestly sit down and think about it. And I know over in the UK, you guys have probably thought about this quite a bit. Nothing about America makes sense. There's no reason why we should have no healthcare system, guns at will, no protections against COVID or bankruptcy, and our education system is failing, but then we claim to be the best in the world.
There's that famous clip for that film.
Cool, nice one.
I can't remember the guy's name. I can't remember what the film's called. But there is a famous clip.
Right, well, I will give you...
When I start to describe it, you'll remember it.
Okay, on you go.
It's the bit where there's 3 lecturers or something on the stage, and a student asks them, why is America the greatest country in the world?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you happen to know what this film's called to help me out here?
It's from a show called The Newsroom.
Right, it's a show. Okay, I didn't know that either. I've never seen the show. I've never seen it. I've only seen the clip. But he starts going through all the things that America's bad at. And,
yes, I have seen this.
Yeah, it's like we're third in this, and we're 22nd in this, and all that. that sort of puts into perspective how arrogant the US has become, and thinking that it's became so much of a world power in military terms that it's not scared of anything. It's like a first world anti-vaxxers. They're living in such a healthy, safe world that they're able to deny medical science because everybody else has accepted it, and then they get to strut around feeling victorious and feeling like they're Einstein. It's nonsense.
It is, a lot of the Trump lovers over here will say, we're the best in the world, or we're number one. And I guess I want to ask them sometimes, I'm like, what are we the best at? The most mass shootings, the most diabetes, the most childhood obesity? Like, what is it that they're so proud of? Like, why will no one in the U.S. Agree that we need to work towards it and just continue to blindly say that we're number one?
Yeah, they always play the nationalist card or the patriotic card, and I feel like using the definition of patriot. Surely, if you're a patriot, you would want to improve all those things because you want a reason for America to be the best. That, to me, seems like a more realistic version of a patriot than just blindly assuming that you're already the best, right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. A friend of mine who grew up in England, I went to college with him. He's got the best breakdown of this. He said that America needs to be more like England and admit that, yeah, we could probably be better. We used to be number one, but we could probably still be better.
Yeah.
But there just isn't that acceptance. It feels like there's a lot of people that are complacent and just want things to be how they were, 70 years ago when women weren't allowed to drive cars and we had segregation with different races and different populations. And will not accept the fact that we are in a different world than they were when they grew up. Of course, I did just lose an election to someone who was 83 years old. So I might take a different view on this.
Okay, so I have a question here from Bill. Where do Luke and Biden stand on rolling back... Sorry, no, I had a wee bit of feedback there. Where do Luke and Biden stand on rolling back Trump's decisions on Palestine? E.g. approving illegal annexation, illegal settlements, and moving US embassy to Jerusalem?
I think we need to stop moving the embassy. We need to leave it alone. The Middle East has been, at least this is where I stand, the Middle East is, that area is such a hotbed for tension. Because the last thing we need is for the Americans to come in and just disrupt the meeting.
Does that answer the question?
We'll find out. We'll see if Bill answers us back.
So while we're waiting on Bill to type a paragraph, because that won't have, I'll tell you now, that won't have answered his question.
Not at all.
Bill is part of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign in this area, and that's pretty much that's his deal with Palestine. So just heads up, you've not answered his question. He will be back, and he will ask another question. But while we're waiting on that to happen, let's talk about President Trump.
No, let's not talk about President Trump. You have a question. So would you stop the $4 billion of aid annually from the US?
I would, actually. I think we need to reevaluate where we send aid. It feels like right now we spend billions of dollars per year as a country sending money to places to just calm them down, to just, make them not hate us. I think we need to sit down and understand where our money can do the best. Not just making people not hate us, but where we can actually help with famine, with countries that are having budgetary issues, and where this money will do the best good.
There you go.
I actually agree.
You just made a wee bit of a correction there. The $4 billion of US military aid, specifically, he was asking about there. So
that's part of the issue, is that they send aid to Israel, and then Israel already has a significant military, and they've got better equipment than most in the Middle East. But I agree with the change in foreign aid. That's a similar thing to over here. Is that I'm not against foreign aid. I'm against how it's done. It seems to be done very lazily, and it's not thought out very well. And it's just sort of done, and then so they can forget about it. There's no thought put in it, and I feel like that's wrong. And it goes to, because there's not a lot of thought put into it, it's put into the hands of the corrupt, and it, a lot of the time, I worry, doesn't reach the hand of the people that need the money and the people that the money's for. And I think there needs to be a change there. I'm not smart enough to come up with what the change should be, but I know that a change needs to happen somewhere.
I agree. I have no problem sending it. I have no problem with that. But I have a problem sending it to places that it might not reach citizens, like you said. It might not reach the people that need it. Because if we're gonna send money to a country because they have a famine or they have some other sort of disaster hit, I want to make sure that that money gets to the ground of the people and it doesn't just go into someone's pocket.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's go into the main crux of why we got you on. Well, the crux of why we got you on is to learn about American politics. But the biggest thing in American politics right now, President Trump
is out.
He's not out because the Democrats rigged it. But he will be
getting close.
He will be kicked out soon. What's your thoughts on that? Are you excited? Are you worried? Are you still laughing at Trump? Is it starting to scare you a bit about how much of a fascist he's starting to look like? What's the deal? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I believe that at the end of the day, that common sense and cooler heads are going to prevail. Mm-hmm. I'm happy that he's out. I'm happy that we've got someone who knows what they're doing again in Joe Biden. But I am really concerned about the 70 million people that voted for him that are okay with fascism, are okay with direct and open racism,
yep, and
quite frankly approve of a dictator trying to take over our country.
Yeah.
That is what is scaring the living hell out of me. We've got it's a little different here because of how hostile the Republicans and the Trump sympathizers are. Being a German citizen, we had trials after the dictator there was out. Now we're just going to have a peaceful transition process. Everything's supposed to be happy and supposed to be unity. And I'm standing here like, no, we have actual Nazi wannabes walking our streets, and they think it's okay. So I don't understand where we're allowing these folks to continue on with no repercussions whatsoever. I mean, we had people walking or marching down streets with torches, hiling Hitler and Trump. We're supposed to just act like that's okay now? Absolutely not.
It's crazy.
It saddens me that I need to say that I'm shocked that there hasn't been more violence, and I don't want to jinx it, but that I'm genuinely saddened by how surprised I am at that.
It's sad to see how far our government has dropped in 4 years in the United States. I mean, we all know that there is an underbelly of racism in a lot of communities, but just how open it is and how accepted it is scary.
Another question from Bill. Will Trump go, or will he mobilise the military to keep him in power and get his new Supreme Court judge to protect him?
Nah, I think so.
So unfortunately, the new Supreme Court judge is she's from South Bend, Indiana, which is only about an hour from where I'm at. So that's unfortunate. No, I don't think he'll. I don't think he will get the military to intervene. I think that he is. He's such an imbecile and he's so immature. I think he's going to just disappear. I think we're never going to hear from him.
I disagree.
Well, see, this is. I'll tell you my side of the story for this, right? Okay, what I think is, because I was so happy that he didn't win. Yeah. So my reckoning is, like, we've had to listen to him before because he was president. We had to have an eye on him and listen to what he was doing. Now that he isn't president, I thought I was going to be excited watching the tears fall from the man's eyes, watching his crazy tweets every now and again. I thought I was going to be excited. It turns out I don't fucking care, to be honest. And I just want to watch him disappear back into insignificance in my mind again.
But he was never insignificant. He was a billionaire.
But it was insignificant to me and a lot of other people.
To you.
Because
he was
nobody...
Home Alone. People knew who Donald Trump was. He was still big in politics.
But it was insignificant in the sense that he was a laughing stock. He still is a laughing stock, but it was just something to laugh and sort of shrug off.
No. I think you're both wrong. I worry, and maybe I'm cynical. I don't know. Maybe I'm cynical. But I feel like he's such a psychopath that's detached from reality that he is eventually going to leave, whether that means the Secret Service is to physically drag him out. He's not got the military on side anymore. He's losing every single court case. Literally every single... He's not won a single fraud court case. He's lost them all. He's not going to stay on. That's just a known fact. But I don't think he's going to shut up. I genuinely think he's going to keep going, and he's going to be talking about this for years and years. And I don't think he's going to run for president again, but I think he's going to milk it. He's going to keep milking all his fans for millions for years to come. I don't think he's going to shut up and go away.
Bill just sent me an article there. I can't read it now. But he basically said that the London Economic seriously thinks Trump is planning a coup.
I mean,
no laughing matter.
So I think what the London Economic is talking about is the Pennsylvania and Georgia thing of trying to get another slate of electors to try and replace the electoral college that's already been chosen. So if the Republicans choose a separate slate of electors, they could then just say Trump won. The problem with that is, at the very most, it's not going to happen in any state, but at the very most, it's going to happen in maybe 2 states. And that's not enough to
sway anything.
To sway the vote. Biden's still going to have 270. So he's not going to win. It's not going to happen.
Well, the other element we have to remember, too, is governors of states are the ones who appoint the electoral college.
Yeah.
Here's the best part. So if a governor appoints someone to the electoral college and that person then votes against the state or against the state's will, the governor either has to remove them or the governor is subject to obstruction of justice charges by the federal government. So the whole system, there are a lot of dominoes to fall. The other element of this, too, is, and this is something I'm very thankful for, regardless of how the Electoral College might become an issue, if it goes to a court battle, and there's still enough votes for Biden, which I think there will be, if he still gets the 270, it does not matter if it is a formal ceremony or whatever it might be. At 12:01 Eastern or 12 noon local time in Washington D.C., on January 20th, Joe Biden will be sworn in as president.
Yeah.
If Trump hasn't left the White House or is still trying to claim that he's in power, he has no standing amongst the military. And the Joint Chiefs of Staff, because there's the all 5 branches of the military in the White House, and the one chief in charge of them, has said that if Trump doesn't leave, that he will drag Trump out of the White House physically himself.
I want to see it. I desperately want to see it.
Just got a wee cameraman zooming in to that window.
Would that not just be delicious?
It would be the best thing that happened on TV. And it'll be 2021, won't it? It won't even make the year, the end
no,
of...
it wouldn't.
Won't even make this shitty COVID year good.
Oh.
It'll be next year that happens.
That will be such an event that no matter what happens in 2021, it will be a great year.
Yeah. Maybe that's what we need.
If we start the year by watching him get dragged out by his hair, kicking and screaming, nothing else will top that.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I think we need it. I think I used to want, because the other issue is, it's like a serious issue, is that he's not started the transfer of power to Biden. So Biden has no idea what he's walking into, really. I mean, he's got idea of policies and stuff, but he's not had security briefings and stuff. Mm-hmm. He's not been allowed that information. So there's a serious element to that if Trump just refuses to transfer power, Biden's going to be walking in blind when he gets elected. That's an issue, isn't it?
We had a Republican senator from Oklahoma today who sits on the Foreign Intelligence Committee in the Senate say that if by tomorrow Trump does not approve the transition of power, he is going to approve Biden getting the security briefing.
Okay.
And that's a member of Trump's own party. That is someone who's supposed to be defending him. So as much as I worry about what he's going to do, I believe that the institution of itself is going to slowly turn against him to the point where they can save their own ass. Because let's be entirely honest, people like Mitch McConnell and other top Republicans, as much as they might say they like Donald Trump, they only care about themselves, and they know they're going to get in trouble, big trouble, if they don't go along with the process that we've had in place for 250 years.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going up to a certain point to try and get as much benefit as possible out of it, and then at the last moment their arse collapses and they go back to sort of toeing the line.
Exactly. They're gonna see the writing on the wall.
So that yes, Bill. This is what worried me in the beginning. Long paragraphs. So I'll go through this quickly and as concise as I can. I think it's a excerpt for that article.
I love Bill.
So after the acting Under Secretary of Defence for Policy, James Anderson, resigned denouncing Trump's cronyism, Brigadier General Anthony Tata took his place. Like Miller and unlike Anderson, Tata has experience in special operations, which usually involved denying democracy in foreign lands, including Operation Uphold Democracy to support Haitian stability, Operation Joint Endeavour in Bosnia and Croatia, Operation Jungle Warrior in Panama, Operation Joint Guardian in Kosovo, and Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. Tata had previously claimed that former CIA Director John Brennan had plotted Trump's assassination. Trump had previously hailed Tata's nomination for the top jobs of for the top job of Secretary of Defence because he feared that it would not be approved by Congress. So Bill's saying there, Trump is appointing very serious crooks to senior positions.
Well, I mean, another crook is the head of education, Betsy DeVos. Over here in the U.S., we've got charter schools, which parents pay for their kids to go to, and they're privately run schools like a business. Well, Betsy DeVos, her brother owns the largest group of charter schools in the nation. And we have seen billions of taxpayer dollars go to these charter schools while she's been around. So our public schools right now are getting about half of the funding that they had before Trump came in because of the amount of money that she's funneled to her brother. So it's been corruption the entire time. I mean, he is going to go down as the most corrupt president the United States has ever had.
Mm-hmm. So I think Bill's getting at the military coup thing.
Oh yeah.
See, he said so many things now that even insulted the military, and I think as much as you could support a military coup from like the generals, from the top generals, they're not going to go in and start killing people. They need someone to go in and start doing the killing for them. And I don't think he's got enough support among the military. I mean, they were hoping that the PA lead was going to lessen because they were getting military ballots at that point. They didn't. It continued to increase a wee bit. Like, he's not got that much support anywhere.
Just an idiot.
I'm no. There was a small section of time where I was like, oh no, this is getting quite serious. He's becoming. I mean, I always knew he was a fascist, but I never thought he would admit it. And I started to get a bit worried about, oh no, there's big gaping holes in the US political and legal system, and maybe something can happen, but and maybe it still can, but I don't see it. I don't see an avenue for it to happen at this point. There's too many in the Republican Party already started to lose interest in it. I don't see where it goes for them anymore.
I hope it goes. I hope it goes the fuck out of the building.
So Michael Rappaport said as well. He's like, "What's going to happen is you're going to fuck off." This is going to.
I love Michael Rappaport. No holding back by Michael.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's going to set my ear up.
I mean, if I'm being entirely honest, I think that the entire world would be better if Donald Trump just fucked off and took everyone around him with him, and we just didn't hear from these people anymore. Mm-hmm. They go back and crawl under the rocks that they came from.
Exactly. That's what I say. And I think it'll just... As obscure as you could be for Donald Trump, I think he's just going to go back into his millionaire lifestyle and the fuck away out of my mind because I don't care what he does.
Aye. Although I'll still be checking. I see, annoyingly, I'm not going to let him get in my mind because I'm going to keep checking.
Bill raised another great question. We're not losing Bill for the time being.
No, we're not.
Trump, the most corrupt president, is he worse than Nixon?
I don't care anything about Nixon.
I don't know anything about Nixon. Do you know anything about Nixon?
So Nixon, this is honestly quite funny. Nixon, the reason why they say he was corrupt, he ordered people to break in, because he was a Republican, to break into the Democratic headquarters and to steal files that they had on him and other top Republicans.
Fuck.
So they could destroy them and not have that dirt on. That's it.
I didn't know that.
That's amazing.
That is the most corrupt thing. Now we've got Donald Trump. It's mild.
That seems less corrupt than what George Bush and Jeb Bush and them done into Al Gore in 2000. Because that was dirty, what they done in 2000.
Yeah, Nixon doesn't seem that bad now when you put it in perspective.
Yeah, I never knew that about Nixon. That's funny. When was that? That was years ago.
That was 1972.
Oh, the 70s we're talking about. Everybody was corrupt in the 70s.
I was going to say it was the 70s. Half of the people were corrupt. The other half were on drugs.
I prefer the ones on drugs.
I still prefer the ones on drugs.
Have you got anything else to bring up? Should we wait here for Bill to respond? Or
I wanted to ask about the try to remember. The decriminalisation of all drugs. What place was it though?
Oregon, I think.
Oregon. What did you think about that when that happened?
So it's a running joke in the United States now that we're all just going to move to Oregon and do crack.
Yeah.
So it's I'm going to be entirely honest. There are a lot of people, especially around my circle, that no one really knew that was on the table for Oregon. So election night, it was quite a shock when we read Oregon votes to decriminalize all drugs. We're like, what? When was this coming up? How did we not know this?
Mm-hmm. Because
is Oregon not quite a right-wing place?
They're not all right.
Right.
They're not.
No, I mean right-wing.
Oh, no. So Oregon is split. In the cities like Portland, they're very left-wing.
Oh, okay.
And then you go out to the rural, and you go to the mountains and the forest, and I'm told that that's where the wannabe militia right-wingers. So it is a strange state.
So it probably wasn't them that suggested legalizing drugs.
I think it was the left legalizing drugs so that they could find a way to cope with the right.
It makes sense to me. I love that idea. I've been in favour of decriminalising drugs for years. Mm-hmm. That's actually the party that I'm in. That's a platform that we've got is decriminalising drugs. So,
but again, that doesn't mean that we're going to go down the Rob Ford route of all smoking crack together and the new crack shops that are going to be opening everywhere.
Rob Ford.
Is that not the Canadian guy that got caught smoking crack?
Yeah.
Big on Canadian politics?
No.
How do you know who Rob Ford is?
There's a rapper called Sharon from Canada.
Oh, right.
Did a track called Smoking Crack with Rob Ford.
Oh, right. So I thought you were a political genius there.
No, not at all.
You listened to a rap song.
Yes.
Right.
That's what I do all day.
Got it.
It was the fact that Rob Ford openly smoked crack in the Toronto mayor's office.
Yeah.
Oh, did he? Oh, what a guy.
Did you not know about that?
I didn't know about this, no.
Genius.
Sorry, I didn't keep up with Canadian politics.
I just keep up with people smoking crack. That's what I do. That's my job.
Do you keep a running tally of the most influential people on crack?
Yes, but I have a huge list.
You know, that's actually something we don't have in the UK is crack.
We do have
or
it.
meth. We don't have meth here.
Again, it's very small.
I mean, generally, I've met people that have taken most drugs, but I've never heard about.
That's one thing you never
meth.
really hear about. To be fair, yeah.
I don't know why meth is so easy to get in the US, but it's so hard to find here.
So meth is so easy to find here because all the hillbillies in their trailers make it.
We've got hillbillies.
See, they made meth out. They made meth out to be like this big thing on Breaking Bad again, but it's like just hillbillies in their caravans that are able to do it.
That's why Breaking Bad was such a great show.
Mm-hmm.
Just the love of meth in the United States just comes through, which is what you want. That's what you want from a world-renowned show, is showing how great the country is with meth.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
So that's all I wanted to find out was about crack.
Oh, cool.
That's all. That's why I'm here.
Well, I'm a question.
You've only got the crack list?
That's it. I send out the emails to get guests and then ask a question about crack at the end, and then that's all I do.
You want to come on the show to talk about crack?
Exactly, that's...
Fantastic.
It's my main job.
I'm not even sure where to go for that.
Craig warned me earlier on. He says, "Don't ask any stupid questions." I think I did just do that, but it's okay. We're okay. We're fine.
Has Bill asked anything yet?
At least Nixon had the decency to resign.
Oh, right, okay. Again, I know nothing about Nixon, so I can't even respond. Mm-hmm. I've not got any more questions. Have you got any more questions, Stephen? I'm
fine there. I think we've taken up enough of Luke's time. That's been almost an hour and 15 minutes.
Have you got anything you would like to promote, to talk about at this point, Luke?
No, I just want to thank you guys for coming on the show. I'm hoping to get a hold of that list of influential people to do crack. I want to see if I know any of them on there. And then want to know who I can bribe for $10.
I will send it out to you right away.
I'll get a hold of that. I'll let you know if I know of anyone else we can add as well.
It's an amazing rabbit hole we've went down here.
Yeah.
That I did not expect.
Well, anyway, I just want to thank you guys for having me on. If I should come back on after this is all over, after we've watched him get drug out of the White House kicking and screaming.
That would be great.
That would be brilliant. Yes. The better the footage of that, the better the interview's going to be.
You should go and film it for us. You could be there So we got a foreign correspondent for the presidential election thing that we done. We done a podcast about it, and we got a foreign correspondent as a friend of mine from North Carolina, I think, and he didn't know anything. He was a bit useless. So now, if you're offering, you could be our foreign correspondent, and you could find out what's happened, and then let us know in January when we do another podcast.
Oh, absolutely, I'd love to. I'll add that to the resume.
Fantastic. You're BTN Media's foreign correspondent. It's a voluntary position. It's not paid.
Well, I mean, I've heard about your political budgets over there. I didn't think it would be paid.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I done a campaign that lasted 8 months, and I spent £50. Mm-hmm. Do you want to have a guess whether I won?
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, the only compensation I need is that list of people on crack. I feel like I could use that for my advantage. I can make plenty of money off of that.
I'm
just thinking right now that if someone tunes in now for like a deep political discussion,
yeah,
and we have had quite deep political discussion,
yeah, but we also have crack.
and then they get to the end and go, what are they talking? Are they joking about the crack, or like what the fuck is happening here? It's amazing. I love that somebody's going to tune in and just be thinking, whoa, what?
Also, it went from meth to crack. It seems to have...
Because crack sounds better, I think. Crack sounds funnier.
What is crack?
It's cocaine. It's like a God, what are we going at?
Is it like smoking cocaine? Like in a pipe? You put cocaine in the pipe and then you burn it?
It's more or less like smoking meth. But you get I'm told. I've never, done crack myself.
He's told,
so
yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I'm told it's like smoking meth, but the high is the same as cocaine.
Yeah, it's basically cocaine, but made for like people to buy it cheaper, sort of thing. If that's my correct thing.
Interesting. I've went as far as having a joint once. That's my drug intake.
That's it. I've got a list for you as well. Bill just says here, superb. Luke can report on Trump mobilising military to keep in the White House. Watch the space.
And Trump hopefully doing some crack. That'd be good.
Oh my God! Right, okay.
Perfect.
We could end on the.
Right, let's end before we start talking about anime drugs.
Thank you very much, Luke, for joining us. Much appreciated.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys for having me on. And if I don't get swept up in the raid by Trump's cronies, then I'd love to come back on and report on the transition of power and him getting drug out by his hair.
Fantastic. I look forward to it so
Amazing,
much.
Man. Again, Bill, thank you very much. We'll let you go, my man.
Sounds good. Thank you guys for having me on. We'll talk soon.
No problem.
See you, bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Right.
Awesome.
So that's us a way to go and smoke some crack now.
What a mad thing to get into at the end there. Again, it usually happens. Bill kens this.
So you've pressed record, you've stopped the recording?
No, it's because I was recording.
We're still live.
It doesn't make any sense, it's still recording on here. I do that as a backup, but it's still recording, and we're nearly finished.
Right.
In about 2 seconds.
Okay, that's fine.
There you go. Bill says, great show, guys. Aye.
You can say it was cracking.
I always loved doing these podcasts because it doesn't matter. Because again, I expected deep political conversation, and then, but some people you didn't expect to get into these conversations. So when I mentioned the crack and stuff,
well, here's the thing.
Great.
I think
it's amazing.
I didn't want to make assumptions about the guy, but I am, and I did, and I'm going to say
we're talking shit about him after he's left,
and I think that he probably made assumptions about us as well, because we don't know each other.
Exactly.
That's just a fair. We're going to make assumptions.
And most people I send the podcast to don't fucking listen to the podcast. That happens a lot.
And so he at the beginning he seemed reserved, and so I was reserved. I didn't swear. I sort of held back on things, and then you started the swearing, and then I think he said a word, and then it sort of kept going up, and then crack. And
I heard him saying fuck a couple of times. I was like, oh, I've broken the man. I've broken him in. That's what's happened.
So that's another. So we obviously like interviewing friends, because we've got a lot of interesting friends. And with them, it's very easy. You stick the mics on and you start speaking, and
basically
they're very interesting. They've got great stories. It's great to have a laugh with them. They've got great sense of humour. I want to stop saying great, and it's very easy. But when you're interviewing somebody that you've never met before, and you genuinely don't actually know a lot of the topics that you're going to be discussing, it's different to genuinely ask the question not knowing, and then asking someone a question that you already know the answer to, but you're just asking because that's part of the interview.
Yeah.
And this was a situation where not all of the questions, but some of the questions that I asked, I genuinely didn't know the answer to, and so it becomes awkward. So you don't know who you're speaking to. You don't know how far you can take jokes.
And I genuinely think as well, like most political podcast and stuff like that can seem standoffish at first.
Yep.
The same as like when we got Richard Baxter on to talk about like what he does. Basically, we got him on to talk about his day-to-day life.
Yeah, he came
ready for a debate.
Yeah,
like boxing gloves on.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're about here. We're about yes, talking about kind of mad stuff, getting deep into conversation if and when we can. But ultimately, it's about the crack at the end of the conversations.
It's about the crack, aye.
It's a brilliant way to end that podcast. I loved it. Again, well, thanks to Luke for coming on.
Thanks to Bill for listening.
Thanks to Bill for tuning in. He was our extra presenter there. But aye, awesome.
I got nothing else to add, man. I'm pumped.
No bother.
Pumped up on cracking meth. Just fucking mad with it.
If you want to check any of our socials out and any of that kind of thing, check our description below. We've got our like Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff, Spotify, iTunes. Also got the Vegan Kind affiliate link as well. If you want to try like vegan snacks as a monthly box, we get a wee bit kickback for that. If you want to go and check that out.
What do we get for that? If somebody buys,
I think it starts off. We're at the point now where it's like 3%. So if somebody buys, if you get 1 to 10 people buy the box, it's 3% a month. And if like someone 20 to 30 or someone buy it, goes up 5%. And if it goes up to like 50 and above, you get 10%.
So if we could get like 100 of yous to buy a Vegan Kind box, it'll pay for our Vegan Kind box every month.
Basically, aye.
Dope.
Awesome. Aye, cool. Right, so we'll actually end there.
Aye.
Thank you, and peace out.
Love crack.